Good evening and welcome to Planning Committee meeting tonight, Tuesday, the 4th of February. Agenda item number 1, apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Jackson and Romans.
Okay. Declarations of interest, I see none. Minutes to approve the minutes Planning Committee from the 14th of January. Councillor Plant, Councillor Thomas, all in favour. Public participation. Just before we start, if the fire alarm sounds, we head out that door, down the steps, out the back, careful of the road, and then we meet outside facing. I'm assuming we aren't going to have a fire tonight because we haven't got any
boiler.
Yeah. Okay. Could you just check to see who's here to speak on 32 Hart Street and on 34 Hart Street? Yeah. Okay. So, if you'd just like the first person to stand up, tell me your name, whoever wants to start. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Susan Scott from SMS Planning, and I've been asked to represent the family that owns number 30 A, B and C Hart Street, who are the adjoining owners to number 32. The application at 32 Hart Street is a retrospective application in response to a planning enforcement case referenced SE 23-100, which was originally raised with SODC in March 2023. It's therefore taken almost 2 years for this application to come forward, and it's aimed at rectifying a breach of planning control. And I believe the applicant has carried on working on the development during that time. 32 Hart Street is located within the Central Henley Conservation Area and it's a listed building. It sits in a row of listed buildings, which include numbers 24 through to 30 and 34 Hart Street. Further, there are a number of other listed buildings to the side and rear of the development, including 17 to 35 Friday Street and Queen Anne Cottage in the Old Foundry, which is also on Friday Street. The development comprises an enormous garden room which covers the full width of the plot and measures about 12.5 metres by 5 metres. An area to the rear described as a pergola with a 2.5 metre high timber-clad wall either side, and a swimming pool area with decking measuring around 12 metres by 6 metres. These really are substantial structures in a very constrained location. The application describes the garden room as a garden therapy room as per the design and access statement, but it doesn't appear that any design and access statement has been submitted. So it's very difficult to understand the therapy aspect of it. We understand it contains a pool table and some other equipment suggesting it's more of a games room. The application also describes the garden as having been re-landscaped, but there doesn't seem to be any on-site evidence of this. The pool has been constructed and ripped out once and is once again under construction. Also, no heritage impact assessment has been submitted, so we can't really quantify the impact on either the listed buildings or the conservation area. We feel the development's overbearing, unneighbourly, and causes harm to both the conservation area and the listed buildings. Its size, footprint, and mass are excessive for the location, and there are also concerns about noise that will be generated by the open-air swimming pool. For these reasons, my clients would appreciate your support in objecting to this application as it's highly inappropriate for the location.
Thank you.
you for your time.
Any questions? Okay. Next up, please. Sorry. Yeah.
No, up to you.
Okay. Up to you, sir.
Can I just give you some voice on this? So I've only printed it for.
Thank you.
First of all, I'm here to represent my son. So my son is 16.
Sorry, who are you? Sorry.
My name's Tony Bax, I'm the owner of 32 Hart Street. So my son is 16. 2 years ago, he was playing rugby at Shipway College. He had a head injury. Within 72 hours of the head injury, we brought him to hospital. He had a hole the size of a fist cut outside of his head. He has first and second degree hemorrhoid rupture, which is going down into his spine, so he couldn't walk. Sorry, I was a bit emotional. After about 3 weeks of the operation, they pulled out the the pump that was pumping drain, and the pump wasn't working. So he had to go back to the hospital. We had to sign very widely worded documents to say, look, he's going to come out. We don't know what he's going to come out of this. When it came out, he did come out. We didn't know whether he was going to talk, whether he was going to walk, or anything. He was then doing Lego at the age of 2. Lego at the age of 2. This is a year and a half ago. Now, I as a dad, I played rugby my whole life, and my job was to make sure my son lived. Now, what I did is I built a rehabilitation centre. So we actually went to doctors. We got all of the evidence to get a rehabilitation centre. We're here from the rugby club. We're massive advocates of Headley Town. We support the rugby club. I give £75,000 to the rugby club. We're the second largest employees of people from Headley Town. We love Henley. We support everything for Henley. So we then bought them in, and we got everyone from the community to start building this centre. If we didn't need if this wasn't grade 2 listing, we wouldn't need planning for this. It doesn't cover more than a quarter of our garden. It's actually, the footprint from the house is less than 1.2 metres. It's actually 2.4 metres. It sits right beside, literally, a residence that he has built. It's exactly the same footprint in comparison to his garden. Let me tell you what Kevin did when we did this. So Kevin, when he knew that we had to get medical supplies for my son, Kevin went and he changed the locks, and we only have one lock on the access in and out of the house. This is where we get medical attention. He played God for my son's life. He made sure that every Saturday, every Sunday, we were locked out and no doctors.
Appreciate where you're going with it.
But everything is built for my son, for the rehabilitation of my son. And everything, as a father, yes, I didn't know that I had a grade 2 listing in my garden. I checked all the plans. I was told by my planners, if I didn't have a grade 2 listing, it sits under 2.5 metres. It is substantial, but by insulating, we make sure the noise doesn't travel out and doesn't take over. It's built purely to save my son's life.
Thank you.
I just like to point one more thing out, and I'm going to leave you guys to it. In case you think this is stopped. One more.
Sorry, just a second. I appreciate this in connection with your son. I want to try and sort of focus on the planning issues. So I genuinely sympathise and I understand the position. We've got to really focus on the planning issues, on the retrospectiveness of it, and the plans that are submitted today. I genuinely appreciate you coming in for the explanation, because a lot of people wouldn't have come in. They would just go, well, we'll just see what happens.
No,
It's fine.
No, absolutely. And also, if you look at my house, if you look at it from the house, it's a third of the size of all the buildings around us. I think Kevin's is right on the side of my house. It's 7 metres, everything else 7 metres. We are literally 1.2 metres below. Everything is done in temporary measures. And we are having ongoing, she's currently under a police harassment case. In the last week,
Please, sir.
Just leave the personal bits out. Thank you. And did you want to speak on 34 as well, or?
2 months, no,
Okay.
I'm going to shock for that.
And thank you, that's fine, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your
Any questions to the participant? No? Check out.
Well, we haven't got an opportunity to, so.
Okay, so, sir, would you like to stand up?
Sorry about
that. Because the building's already been built and we can see it.
Who are you?
Yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm Kevin Wood from number 30C Hart Street,
Right.
and we're right next to the development. So I've taken photographs to show what the state of everything is at the moment to circulate to you people. If I just, and there.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, yes.
Can I just say at the beginning, or do you want me to wait for you to
You've seen
peruse
from our
it?
house.
Yeah, that's fine. Right, okay. Look. Okay. you want to talk us through the photographs or?
Yes, I would like to, yeah. So we live, my wife and my two daughters, 30C Hart Street. I'm Henley born and bred. Our property at 30 Hart Street consists of Ballard's estate agent on the street, and then two further commercial, doctors and hairdressers, and two residential properties within the plot behind Ballard's. My father purchased the plot 48 years ago. The property is held in trust with my two sisters, one of whom is here tonight. I just want to, while I remember, he's talked a lot about his son.
It's irrelevant.
I know.
I'm concerned with the plan.
I'm just saying he doesn't actually live there.
That's fine.
It's his stepson, and he doesn't actually live at the property, so.
Okay.
Our general objections have been set out by Suzanne Scott, our planning consultant. However, I would like to draw to your attention that this retrospective planning application has only come about after 2 years of me regularly contacting SODC Planning Enforcement since the initial construction of this massive shed started in March 2023. I have kept planning enforcement up to date with developments on the site at 32 Hart Street, and they have visited the property 4 times. In the words of the planning officer, the applicants have already been advised that any unauthorised works undertaken are at their own risk. The construction work on the swimming pool has accelerated over the last 2 weeks. Additional points I would like to bring to your attention. The 2.4 metre high wooden perimeter wall stretches along the entire length of our garden boundary wall. The grey painted wood gives the impression of a prison exercise yard from our side and would cast half our garden into a state of shade. It's reduced our view of the church and generally diminished the character and open feel of these traditional low-walled gardens in the conservation area. At the rear of the shed, the 25 square metre pergola has rafters which are of such size and number that they are clearly designed to accept a roof structure rather than be an open-roofed pergola. The application clearly states that no trees were cut down or pruned, but in the photograph I show that one tree has been cut down to make way for the pergola. There are repeated references to harvesting rainwater in the application. There is no possibility of harvesting rainwater as per the inaccurate plan drawing submitted due to the square cut profile of the shed, no overhanging eaves, and a complete lack of guttering. We question the whole assertion that this is a therapy pool and a therapy room. There is no evidence presented in the application to justify this description. The so-called therapy room actually contains a pool table, large TV, and powerful stereo, which have been used late at night for loud parties right next to our house. And in one of the photographs, the foundations of the boundary wall between 32 Hart Street and the old foundry in Friday Street, if you look carefully, that the foundations have been seriously undercut by the digger, which was used to excavate for the therapy pool, to the point where the wall must now be considered unsafe, and a survey should be conducted to recommend remedial works to make the wall safe again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else care to speak on any of the issues here? Thank you. Okay, we'll go to agenda item number 5, plans amended. First, the plans amended, I think, was 44 Makens. That is P24 S3321 as over. And we,
Yeah, we referenced it last.
okay.
That's fine.
Okay, any comments? Recommend approval, seconded. Councillor Dodds, Councillor Thomas. Anyone else going to speak? All in favour? Thanks. Thames Farm, P24. I'm going to take the 3 of these together because I'd like, given, do you want to explain, Julie?
So there's been an extension of the consultation, so we can respond up until the 28th of February on the full application. we paid a third fees with Harpston and Shiplake to get JBA Consulting to consider the amended plans, and they'll look at the drainage proposals. So we'll have the opportunity to discuss this and make a response at the next committee in 2 weeks' time on the 18th. So I would suggest that we defer it to that meeting.
I would propose that.
Yeah.
Seconded by councillor Hunt. All in favour? Opposed? Fine, thank you. That's for the three. That's for the discharge, the SME3 and the full, all three together.
Yeah.
Do we want to have that as a part of amended plans, or do we want to have that as a separate discussion? Have we got any preference? We just discuss it at amended plans?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Rather than just a separate agenda item.
No, doesn't need.
Okay, move on to agenda item number 6, plans new. P24S 4015 householder for 15 St Mark's Road. Julie, anything?
So this is within St Mark's Road conservation area. There has been a similar extension on the neighbouring property. There's been no objections from either side. It's single story.
Any council plans?
No, straightforward route, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Councillor Dodds seconded.
Yeah.
And prefer to speak? All in favour? Okay. We go to P24S 405 listed building. That's the old Bell House.
Yeah, so this is a listed building and the Heritage Officer's been consulted, so I'd leave it to satisfaction.
Okay. Councillor Plant,
Approval subject to heritage.
Councillor Dodds.
I think what the owner gentleman is doing here is just brilliant, looking after this very fine building. Obviously doing it properly, very expensive and thoroughly, and to be congratulated, really.
Everybody else got to speak? Proposal for approval, seconded, all in favour?
Subject to heritage.
Subject to heritage, yes, thank you. If we go to P24S 4086 householder for 19 Fairmile.
Yeah, so this is within the conservation area. It's not listed. Clarifying Councillor Thomas's query before the meeting, it's not listed itself. The adjacent properties are, and when the search comes up,
It says on the application, on the portal, that it's grade 2 listed.
it's not, no.
So they've got it wrong then,
Well,
SODC got it wrong.
it's how the search has come up, because it's pulling in the data from the next door neighbours. I've double checked and it's not listed.
Okay.
It's proposed to have roof lights, and it's got a single story extension which will be subservient to the main property. The materials and details to match existing properties. No comments from neighbours at the moment.
Okay. Got a comment? Councillor Plant.
I think it's quite straightforward. I'm not a huge fan of the roof lights, but I don't think they're particularly unsettling to the area or the street scenes.
Okay.
No problem. Happy to
Councillor
second.
Dodds, everybody else got a comment? All in favour? We go on to 32 Hart Street, P24S 4093 householder retrospective.
So yeah, a pool and a garden room has been erected in the garden of a listed building, and the pagoda and our building adds to the sense of development and enclosure within this site. There's been complaints received from neighbours regarding the size of the proposal and noise and nuisance. I note that the environmental health officers haven't been consulted, but they could consider impact on noise. And the heritage officer is consulted in terms of the impact on the listed building. It might be worth having a design and access statement to help support the need for such development, and a heritage statement to consider the impact on the listed building.
And those aren't on the existing plans.
No.
Councillor Plant?
I think sensitive to, obviously, thank you very much for taking time and sensitive to all the presentations we've had tonight. On the planning material alone, until we've had a note from the Conservation Officer to sign the access statement to support it, the mass and size of this is unenabling unless they've got a justification for it and have gone through the appropriate channels to do it in such a sensitive area, which clearly hasn't been done in this case. We simply cannot approve it until we have further information on both of those points to clarify. So I'm not saying it's nonsense, but just follow due process on this one. Reject it for now. Obviously wish them every luck in getting the right bits that they need. I don't think conservation will be in support of it, and I don't think it's particularly neighbourly or fitting for the area in which it's placed. So rejection.
Okay, Councillor Thomas?
Yeah, no, I second that. Despite, you know, I mean, obviously we all sympathise with this situation here, but this is a planning meeting and we are dealing with heritage assets. It doesn't just belong to the Baxters. When you own a property like this, you don't just own, you're not just a home, you're passing through. You have to protect the heritage assets in its entirety, right down to the last brick. Okay.
Is 32 a listed building, or is it the garden that's listed?
Both.
It's
Both.
listed, so it'd be the setting of the listed
Okay,
building.
that's fine. Because of the Burgers plots and because of the,
Yeah, and the walls and the adjacent
Yeah.
properties as well.
and I'm assuming at some point there would need to be consultation with the Archaeological Society as well, given if you're digging up.
I mean, they've done none of it because they
They've
didn't
done
get
planning
planning.
to us.
Yeah, I mean, I do question SODC. I mean, SODC need to just backtrack and just say, look, if it had been done in the right way, okay, all of there would be a listed building application, and then when you get a listed building application, everything has to follow. So, you've got the archaeology officer, you've got the heritage officer, you have to provide a heritage statement. And literally all they've had to do is consult the heritage officer so far. It's not acceptable. So I do question SODC as well as, the owners of this listed asset.
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual materials used, the bulk of it, the pool being right up against a listed wall, it's all, the materials are all wrong, the bulk of it, the shape of it is all wrong, it's too big, everything about it just screams at me, no, it's not appropriate.
Okay, Councillor Dodds?
I think we should put in a strong objection. I think it's extremely unneighbourly. There's nothing worse than living next to kids playing in the swimming pool. It's
Personal opinion.
personal opinion. I know, but nice.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I think they've just gone ahead and done it and not followed the rules, and it's completely wrong. And as you say, SODC have been very tardy, not dealing with this earlier, and it's horrible to see fallings out between neighbours. It's really not. I've been there. It's not nice. So I think a strong objection.
I think that's a different proposal to what Lawrence put forward.
So we'll come back to what you said. It was what Lawrence put forward was that it hasn't followed this retrospective. It is
What Councillor Thomas and I both agree, it's followed none of the due process to get to the
follow
stage
the
that
process.
they need to do.
That's fine. On that basis, that's the proposal so far that's been seconded. The addition that you've got is
Strong objection.
strong objection.
Does that work with?
Yeah, I think we're all along the same lines, just bring them all together.
Okay.
It's too much.
And one of the neighbours pointed out that there's a really rare World War II air raid shelter there as well, which has been completely entombed in this sort of inappropriate material. You can't do that. It should be
I
listed.
think it's the fact that the due process hasn't been followed, because if the due
Yeah.
process had been followed, all of this would have come out,
Yeah.
and then they would have had to follow it. So purely on the basis of lack of due process, that's what you're putting forward. Nothing else we can, it's
Well, the rest is
consequential.
material at this point.
Yeah, consequential. Okay, we have a proposal and a seconder. All in favour of refusal? Thanks. If you would like to stay for the rest of it, you're more than
Really
welcome.
relieved. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good.
If we go to P24,
Submit on the portal.
yeah, if you can
We're
submit.
waiting for the meeting and then we're going to submit our proper objections.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Could I just ask, if this is finally rejected, could there be enforcement to put it back?
I think that's done.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
what they would do.
That's
Yeah.
what they would do,
Yeah.
put the garden back as it was.
That will drag on for years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much for your
thanks.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.
P24, S4110 householder, flat 3 Oxford House, conversion of roof space.
Yeah, so they're proposing flat roof extension and a proposed roof terrace. This is a very prominent building within the conservation area, and it's a lot higher than those surrounding it. And there's potential for overlooking from the roof terrace, impact on amenity, and also longer views within the conservation area along Friday Street. There's no comments yet from any neighbours.
Councillor Thomas,
Yeah, I'd go for a refusal on this one. Like our planning officer has pointed out, it is in a conservation, it's not listed, but it is in a conservation area. And I'm not sure, has the heritage officer been consulted? Because they do need to be when it's a conservation office area. When it's a conservation area, they need to be consulted. So yeah, I think like Jodie has said, it's in a really, really prominent part of the conservation area, and it just sticks out like it doesn't. Like, what's it doing there? You know, and also, you know, what is the point of it? Because they can't actually see. All they'll be able to see from there are the roofs anyway. So I don't even know why they want. I mean, I suppose that's immaterial, but but no, I think it's the materials are wrong. I think it's unneighbourly because I think they'll be overlooking, you know, between the flats. I'm amazed that the neighbour hasn't yet actually put anything on the portal, but I'm sure they will. Yeah, so for all of those reasons, have they done so now?
No, I don't think so. The neighbour is number 5, which is that the Rook Airbnb place.
Oh yes,
And
Yeah.
they're the ones that had all the problems with number 9
right.
when there's Geo Cafe.
Mm.
So I've got concerns over the amount of work that's taking place along there, but that's by the by, that's a different thing because we've had the scaffolding up and the new
And by
roof
the
on and everything
way,
else
do you
there.
know what really, really, really stuck out to me as well was the air quality officer was consulted, and it's the worst part of Tenley for pollution.
Well, the downstairs bit is, but the upstairs bit's fine.
Yeah, but no, you know,
Okay.
and it's the worst part is it's you know it's over and above legal limits, and
Yep.
which is why it's been an air quality management area for all this time.
Yep.
Why would they want to?
Yep.
And the air
Building
quality officer. Oh, nothing to see here. What?
Okay, so we have your proposal for rejection on the basis of unneighbourly, you got all points?
Yeah.
Yep.
Street scene,
Street scene,
Yeah.
yeah.
materials.
Do we have, are you seconding or?
Yes, I am second, but are they all in one ownership, all the flats in
No.
there? And that must be very difficult, because if you're going to do some building work underneath where you live or alongside, huge implications, and often insurance situations, any damage, you know, it's all of this is very, very concerning, really.
Yeah, okay. So proposed and seconded. Anybody else got to speak? All in favour of refusal? Thank you. P25S 0029 householder for 69 St Mark's, 9 sash windows.
So yeah, this will be dependent on the heritage officer.
Conservation zone, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Fine.
Councillor Plants,
Exactly that.
approval on, this is approval and subject to the heritage officer.
Otherwise, it's perfectly fine.
Anybody else care to speak? Seconded, who's seconded? I'll second it, it's fine. All in favour? Thanks. 34 Hart Street, P25S0117S73. Variation of condition 6. Just change the details.
Yeah,
there's
the
any issue.
environmental health, they're happy with it, so it's
Yeah.
no comment.
Okay, I'll propose acceptance from the chair. Councillor Plant, Councillor Dodds, anybody else going to speak? All in favour? Thanks. 15 Wilson Avenue, P25S0140, householder. Removal of hedge.
Yeah, so they're removing a hedge and putting up a fence. The fence requires permission. They've had permission in the past for such development. It's not in the conservation area.
The hedge is dying. There's a
The
wonderful
hedge is dying,
photograph.
yeah.
Very dying hedge.
Hedges are always done, I can take care of it.
Similarly, along that road.
I mean, it's like the last one that we had, exactly. It's like, let's get rid of my hedge because it's too much maintenance, it's too difficult to take care of, and those bees are a real pest. And really
That was in the
That's
conservation area.
irrelevant.
I know, it's a similar thing.
If you saw a photo of this hedge, it's a dead lilandi and it's very ugly.
Okay, so would anybody care to
Well,
put forward?
You know, if
Let them build their fence.
they've had planning permission before, though, so it's very, very difficult to turn it down. But, you know, what I would say is walking down that street, there are no similar kind of gates on this street at all. So I think it would really draw attention to that property. You know, I would just go for a different design if I were them.
Or plant a hedge again.
You know, this kind of, no, it would just look wrong along that street. Beautiful, beautiful terrace houses opposite, you know, and yeah, I just think it would look odd. But, you know, like I say, we can't refuse it really, can we?
So they've,
Well, we can, but
you can approve, you can refuse it on the basis of it doesn't fit with the street scene.
shall we? What do you think?
No,
I mean,
I was just thinking-
I think it's awful.
Okay,
Does it fit in at all?
okay. Councillor Plant,
It's a yes.
it's a yes. We haven't, so we've got
Yes
a
to
proposal. So 1 second, in that case, first before we go, you were first up, so you're saying,
Oh, well,
Yes or no?
my motion, my proposal is that we refuse it because it's not fitting for that road.
Okay.
Come
do we
on,
have a
you know,
seconder?
come
for
back
that?
with another gate proposal.
I'll second that. I'd rather see it have a hedge replanted, otherwise it's a loss of greenery.
Yeah, we-
It's a
number one,
it's a
always-
biodiversity loss.
Yep.
And again, if the gate doesn't fit in with the street scene, but my main concern is the biodiversity loss.
Yeah, it's always preferable to have a hedge first.
Yes,
Okay,
And
and
then-
I haven't heard a reason why they can't have one.
Yeah, all of
Didn't
the
hear it's dead.
Yes, but they can replant.
Very diseased.
however, the only,
Didn't hear that. It was
Very
said.
ugly.
No, but I'm not saying they
Really?
keep the current one, but if you're going to take it out and put a fence in, presumably you could put a different
little
hedge
hedge,
in.
exactly, that's
just on that, they have received planning permission for a fence already.
And they could put a metre high fence up anyway.
Yeah, so without
And
any
Across that whole
planning
street
permission.
is hedges, metal, chain wire, bricks. I mean,
Still rather
Lots
see
of
a hedge.
nice hedges along there.
there you go.
Yeah.
So this
There's
one.
so much difference.
Okay. So we have a proposal to reject on the basis of this, sorry, 1 second. We have a proposal to
Sorry.
reject on the basis of the street scene. It's been seconded. All in favour of that proposal? 3. All against that proposal? Okay, I'm abstaining. I'm quite happy to let that go through. That's refused. Okay. P25 S0157, householder for 34 Cromwell Road, garage conversion and access ramps, front extension.
I didn't have a comment on this. It
Okay.
would be dependent on the neighbours.
Okay. Councillor Plant,
Yes.
Yes.
Seconded.
Yeah, makes sense.
anybody else got a comment? All in favour? Thanks. Finally,
Your favourite.
Jerry Anderson's house. P25 S0197, full for Anderson House, change the use for commercial to 3 residential dwellings, class C3. This has come before us previously. They went to put it into amend. They then took it back out again. It's doing the hokey cokey. Jodie, is there any major change from last time?
So we recommended refusal on the grounds that it didn't comply comply with the local plan or the neighbourhood plan. At that point, they didn't have any marketing information submitted. They've come back and they've said that they've worked on the marketing of the site, and that's
Since-
been since March 2024. And they've provided marketing report for the application. It's been marketed for 10 months, which is
Less than a
2
year.
months short of what's required in the local plan.
So they've marketed it since March 2024. We're now in February 2025. They're going to have to come again in May, April.
We did have other points as well in
Yeah.
our
Yeah, lots of points.
refusal, so if you wanted to refuse it, I can add the other points.
I would
Really-
just copy and
really
paste the last one.
Yes.
Wasn't this the one Councillor Arlett was fighting? Because the
Councillor
original
Arlett has-
application,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Councillor Arlett
And he
has-
took it to,
Yeah.
to Sods, didn't he?
I propose refusal on the same
Mm.
grounds as before.
Mm.
Also probably proposing to call it in.
Okay.
Call it in. He'll be back by then.
So proposal for refusal. Let me ask her to second that. Curtis seconded. Councillor Dodds. Let me ask her to speak. All in favour of refusal on the same grounds as before? Thank you.
They've got to put more effort into the marketing.
Lower the price.
Yeah.
And agenda item number 7, objections, call-in applications, call-in Anderson House.
Yes.
Also Thames Farm, although we're deferring the decision to get the call in,
Yeah.
we can also do that this meeting.
Yeah.
I propose we call Thames Farm in as
Okay.
well.
I'm minded to call in the Hart Street as well, 32 Hart Street.
Yeah.
Because it is a serious amount of change. It is not a minor change. It is retrospective. There is significant concern from the neighbours. I've got significant concern that SODC have taken so long to go and do anything with this. To be allowed to go and do this, there is potential that we could be setting precedents that will say, yes, so if we call it in, at least it gets in front of the committee. So if we call in Thames Farm, 32 Hart Street and Anderson House, please. All in favour? It's fine. Thank you. Okay, decision notices. I'm not going to read through them, but the main ones. Nothing specific. Oh, 86 Bell Street's finally gone through. Okay. And same with Hop Gardens for listed buildings and Friday Street. Okay. Progress report. Certificate of Local Development. 31 Gainsborough, 29 Gainsborough, Wrexham Garage, and 2 Simmons Road. And then we have agenda number 10, which is progress report for applications called in. Still the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we've. Is this one we called in before? So we've still got to call it in, but because we've now
We've
represented
got
them.
new
Yeah,
ones.
yeah, okay. So
We'll
we'll call
add
those
it
in.
to the list.
And then agenda item 11, progress report. Kath, would you care to give us any updates? Traffic and pedestrian surveys.
So this is really the crossings on Bell Street and Kings Road. The design is going to OCC this week for discussions with OCC. I managed to get hold of the Highways Design Company last week or the week before. So that's moving on.
Yeah, so the local plan's been submitted to the Secretary of State for examination. So we're waiting on a date for that to start.
Okay,
The shopfront design guide, I've heard back from the SODC Heritage Officer, and they confirmed there's no plans to review the design guide. So there's not scope to look at that, but in terms of the design guide, but the best way forward would be through the neighbourhood plan. So I'll bring that to the neighbourhood plan committee in our meeting in March.
because that was what we discussed before, was that even if we, because then that will actually, even if we do review that design guide and put it forward as part of the neighbourhood plan, that shows we've actually updated the neighbourhood plan without having to do significant other work.
It does add to that, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
And then Henry Manor Care Home, we're awaiting for them to second on.
I've got an update.
Yeah.
So I've been in touch with Hallmark's property manager, and they had a pre-application meeting on site. The Hallmark employee wasn't actually present, but the SODC officer and the footpath officer for Oxfordshire County Council was in attendance, and she thinks that the signs are positive, that they, subject to biodiversity net gain, that it will all work out, so they're just waiting a decision now on two things: what their sort of like their liability is, I suppose. Liability is not quite the right word, but what the costs are going to be, associated with this biodiversity net gain. So they're just awaiting a decision, a final in writing decision from the planning officer.
Great.
So it's all looking positive. Let's all
Well done.
stay positive too.
And Canny Ag, renewable, that's all being done as part of the.
Yes, so and as part of this, there is an energy event in the town hall on Saturday with, I think, 16 different companies coming and
Brilliant.
charity also coming.
Different in the
We may be getting.
It's been
some
really well
extra heating.
publicised as well, so I really hope it's well attended.
Yeah, good. So I think it should be a really good event with also advice on just how to save energy, as well as sort of companies that are promoting renewable energy solutions, etc. And I think that's the main thing that's happening under that item. Trees. We have now obviously got the biodiversity officer working for the council, and
next
Katrina.
week.
Yeah, we've got Canny Ag next week. Katrina will be looking at the tree strategy sort of a bit later in the year. She's working on a couple of other things first, but we should have something to come back to council with in the autumn. Increasing numbers of the existing car club, we haven't been looking at that as yet. The promotion of the EC04 scheme, I haven't had any further updates on that. I don't know whether that stopped over Christmas, really. But they had very good response from householders that had been approached when they dropped off letters about this scheme. And then the strategy for community engagement, that's on Katrina's list of projects, and I think we should have something to come to council for consideration in the summer.
Brilliant.
Great.
All very positive.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Meeting closed.
Shall
Minutes, seconds.
Henry